Hello friends and welcome. Today is Saturday, June 25th, and it is an absolutely beautiful day here in Eastern PA. My apologies for doing this video indoors because it is a great day to be outdoors, but I just have a lot going on today and wasn't able to go anywhere interesting or even take the time to move the camera outside. I've only got about enough time to make this video today. I'm hoping I'm going to get this uploaded, but it probably won't be until this evening. So good morning, but hope you had a great Saturday by the time you see this. So a couple things I wanted to talk about today. First and foremost, I know you've seen videos and several videos now about the FDA deeming X and potential things that we can do to help influence what's going on right now. And I'm not going to rehash that. There's other folks that have done a great job of bringing up these issues and explaining everything you can do. I will link to one video that several other people have pointed out, and that's the one that the Diabetic Man has done. It's an excellent video that it goes through some of the impacts that the FDA regulations could have, and also provides links to contact congressmen, senators, and let them know the concerns we have about this. So I ask you all, if you haven't already, to please go to that link, which I'll put down below. And even if you don't watch the video, but you should, it's an excellent video, click on the appropriate link for you, and it only takes a couple of minutes at most to put in your name and address and things like that, and then hit send, and it automatically sends a letter to your senators and congressmen. A couple of points to add to what's already been said. One thing that I haven't seen highlighted is the impact that this act will have on pipe makers, and even on people that restore pipes or modify them. The way this act is written right now, a pipe is a tobacco product and will fall under FDA regulations, and therefore will have to be registered and approved. That's a very expensive process, and it means that most, if not all, small individual pipe carvers are going to be, quite frankly, forced out of business by this legislation. So that's something that I haven't seen highlighted, and I think we really should make more noise about that, because it's going to have a significant impact on many of us, and certainly on our hobby in general. Even things like, the videos that I do are probably not going to be able to continue, because I don't know where I'll get the pipes, because technically they will no longer, I don't think it will any longer be possible to sell a pipe on eBay, because or to sell a pipe in an antique store, because they will be an FDA regulated product. And if they are sold, if I was to restore the pipe, I think it would then be considered a different product, because, well, I don't want to get too much into this, but I do want to highlight the importance of taking some action on this. So just go to that link, watch the video if you have time, but at least click on the links below, and below the Diabetic Man's video, and send one of these letters. It's really important. Okay, enough politics. Oh, one last political thing. The fear that we have around this right now may or may not be justified. I'm hoping that in the end logic will prevail. But keep in mind, this just highlights how important it is to think about who you're voting for. I'll say no more. Just think about who you're voting for. Okay, so the main thing I wanted to talk about today has nothing to do with politics, thankfully. And that is, I wanted to give you some impressions on a tobacco that is relatively new. It came out earlier this year, and I've had the opportunity to smoke several tins of this, and it is called Warhorse. This is from Standard Tobacco of Pennsylvania. It's the same company that reintroduced Bengal Slices, and this is actually a reintroduction of a tobacco that went out of production in sometime in the 1980s. I never had the opportunity to smoke the original. It was a UK product. I believe Gallagher's was the company that made it. And it was considered to be, well, the old ads referred to it as a man's tobacco. So, apparently that meant that it had some kick to it. Plus the name Warhorse probably tells you something about it as well. So the description on the back of the tin here gives you quite a bit of information about what's in it, so I'm just going to read that to you. Workhorse Ready Cut is a robust blend of rich burley and bold dark fire Kentucky, with ripe mature Virginia added for a bit of sweetness, and Perique added for a bit more spice. A subtle but pleasant top note enhances the flavor of the quality leaf rather than masking it. And I would say, this. So I've smoked. This is the third tin of this that I've had, and I would say that description is really very accurate. In short, I like it. I really do like it, and I wanted to share it with you and give you some of my impressions of the blend, because it's unique. It's a good quality tobacco, and it's got some unique features to it. So this is empty. This is actually the tin that I was telling you about a few weeks ago that was opened in shipping. So when I got it, it was open, and I will say this tobacco comes rather dry, and I like my tobacco on the dry side, so that doesn't really bother me. But if you're someone that prefers their tobacco to be a bit more moist, you might want to rehydrate it a bit. Sorry, I'm having some basement noise here. So you may need to rehydrate it a bit for your liking. I like it the way it comes right out of the tin, but this one being open and shipping was actually a bit crispy, so I had to rehydrate it. So I transferred it to a jar and added just a little bit of water. It took up the water very quickly, and if anything, it's over moist now. I'll try to give you a look at the tobacco itself. There we go. So this is a lot loose and more fluffy than what you will get in the tin, because it has been rehydrated. And to be honest, I haven't noticed any real difference in flavor between this moisture rehydrated tobacco and what I get straight out of the tin with the other two tins that I smoked. But I do want to leave that as a caveat that this is slightly different than the first two tins. But it's all been very good. So I'm going to smoke some of this I've already preloaded, and this is that Rick Black Mortar that I showed you a while back. Beautiful pipe. I've smoked it, this will be the fourth time actually, and it just smokes beautifully. So I'll talk a little bit about the pipe as I go along as well, and tell you about the tobacco. So let's get this lit. You wouldn't. Always be prepared. Sorry, making a bit of smoke here. So the first thing of note when you first light up this tobacco is the top note. So in the tin or the jar, it has a very strong top note aroma, and it's not at all off-putting, but it's very obvious when you stick your nose down in the tin. The smell is a little bit hard to place, and I'm really bad at identifying toppings, but I get an apricot and something else that I can't quite put my finger on in the smell. The taste actually is somewhat faithful to that. It's a sweet, and I'm going to say apricot because I just don't have anything else to pin it on, but it's not exactly right. And it's subtle. When you first light the pipe, it's what you get, and you think, oh my God, I'm smoking an aromatic tobacco, but it goes away very quickly. Sorry, furnace problems. So the first thing you get is that topping, and it's a very light, sweet, apricot-y flavor, and it does almost feel like an aromatic when you first light up, but that very quickly moves to the background, and the burley and the Virginias, sorry, not the Virginias, the dark fire Kentucky take over at that point. The topping never goes away, and the interesting thing about this is the topping lasts throughout the bowl, all the way to the bottom. I can still detect it. not off-putting at all, not a heavy aromatic flavor, but it's something unique that's sort of in the background all the time. And the burley is nice. It's a nice, nutty, woody kind of burley, and that dark-fired Kentucky just complements it perfectly. A lot of times I find the dark-fired is overdone in blends. This one isn't. It's just about perfect. It's providing some boldness, some spice, and some depth to the overall combination, and it's just really wonderful. And where I think this really shines is the Red Virginia and the way it comes into play with everything else. So the Red Virginia is there. It's got that deep sweetness that you get from the matured Virginia. So it's not a high note at all. It doesn't really override any of the others, but it's bringing in this dark, almost caramel-like sweetness. And that combines with that topping and just ties everything together beautifully. And the tin actually says something. Let me just check. It says that the pleasant top note enhances the flavor of the quality leaf rather than masking it, and that is just really dead on. It never becomes the flavor of this tobacco, but it's just enough there to kind of pull out that Virginia sweetness and accent it a little bit, and that just ties the whole thing together beautifully. There's a spiciness, in particular if you retrohale, there's a spiciness that comes, I think, predominantly from the dark Kentucky. The Perique, I don't really detect a lot of Perique in this blend. I think it is a very minor component. It occasionally pops in and makes me think, oh yeah, there's Perique, but it's not ever a powerful overriding. I mean, this is not by any stretch a burley Perique. But it's it's another one of these complex blends that just melds very well, and in doing that, it creates something that's just incredibly unique. You can pull out all the different flavors, and you can say, okay, there's the burley, with the exception of the Perique. I can pull everything out, but they all fit together very nicely and make a whole that's, well, greater than the sum of its parts, to be a bit gestaltist about it. It's a really wonderful tobacco. I highly recommend you try it. It's also not too expensive. I think that the tins of these are running about $9, so it's reasonably priced and just good stuff. Now, I should have said at the beginning, this is Warhorse Ready Cut, and I think this is the only one that's currently available. But I did see some talk that they were going to come out with a plug form. The original Warhorse, from what I've seen, was available in a bar, and it looks almost like a dark brown bar of soap with Warhorse stamped into the top of it. It's very, very interesting. And I don't know if this was one of those tobaccos that you could either smoke or chew, or if it was just sold that way, and you'd cut it up and rub it out. And it also seemed to have been sold in a flake form, so I guess that bar was the same bar was cut into a flake that could then be rubbed out. So there was some talk that Standard Tobacco was going to come out with a plug of some sort, but I haven't seen any more about that. But this is the ready cut, and it is ready to pack right out of the tin. This pipe is really amazing. This is the first Mortar pipe that I've had, and beyond the fact that Rick just did a fantastic job making it, I mean, it's a beautiful pipe, and the smoking, I mean, it smokes quite well. The draw is perfect on it. But beyond that, the Mortar it's just really kind of unique. It's extremely light, much lighter than Briar. It heats up quickly, so you have to be careful with this. You could, just I don't ever with Briar have to worry about my puffing cadence, other than if the tobacco is getting too hot. But I never get the pipes hot, and this will very easily heat up. but it will also very quickly cool down, and it's really remarkable quality. So it encourages sipping the tobaccos, and that actually can give a much more pleasant smoking experience a lot of the time. And it's you notice I'm holding it by the bowl. It's never become too hot to hold, even when I'm not talking, when I'm just quietly smoking by myself. It's never gotten that hot, but it does conduct the heat better than briar does. So it gives you sort of more immediate feedback on the temperature that you're creating in the tobacco chamber. And the smoke is very, very clean. Some people have said they notice on Mortar a taste that comes from the wood for the first few bowls. I didn't get that at all. I just got very clean tobacco flavor, even with the very first smoke. And it's if anything, just gotten better over the course of the smokes I've had in it. So I love this pipe. So thank you again, Rick. You did a great job. And if you haven't tried a Mortar pipe, I highly recommend it. And I'll once again highly recommend Rick Black, because great value in his pipes, and he just does beautiful work. And I will finally, once again, recommend Warhorse from Standard Tobacco. It's good stuff. Try some. Well, that's about it for today. I've bent your ear enough for one day, I think. I do plan to have a video for you this Wednesday, so I've got a new restoration project started, and I'm excited about that. Able to get back into the shop a bit and get some work done. So I'm happy to be planning a video for this coming Wednesday. So I'll look forward to that, and I hope you'll join me. Thanks a lot for subscribing, by the way. I've gotten a whole bunch more subscribers in the past week, and I'm really happy about that. It's always good to know that people want to follow my videos and hear what I have to say. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the people that have subscribed in the past, and all the guys that comment. I always appreciate that. So with that, I will say that I hope you have a great week, fantastic rest of the weekend, and a great week. And I will look forward to talking to you all again real soon. So goodbye now.